everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for Exercise and Creating a Moving Plan webinar with Meghan McHale Bilardo. Meghan is a certified health coach and vice president of learning and organizational development. She earned her Master's of Science in Organizational Development and Analysis from Case Western Reserve University and is here today to talk with us about the importance of adding movement into our day, especially when we are stuck at home. So thank you to Meghan for being willing to talk with us today. And thank you to the Cleveland chapter and Alan Dangler for setting this up. So I will be monitoring questions throughout. So you'll see the ask a question button and Meghan will ask you to just drop some comments in there and answer some questions throughout. And if you have any, there'll be time for questions at the end. So if you have any questions in there, feel free to ask them and I will relay them to Meghan. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with Meghan.
Great. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for spending some of your lunchtime with us today. I want to welcome you all to what I hope will be an interactive session about exercise and creating a moving plan. And to get us started, the first things I'd like you to do is to use that question box that Emily just told us about. And I want you to drop in there, if you can, try to make it one word that tells us how you feel about exercising. And in a couple minutes, I'm going to ask Emily to read off those answers to me. So one word, how do you feel about exercising and moving? You know, we all know that it's good for us, but sometimes that's not enough to actually get us to do it. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think and how you feel about exercising. And while you put your answers in there, let me tell you a little bit about Lunge Leadership and why I decided to start this business to help people like you live your best life at home and at work. So I've been coaching and training leaders for many years, and one of the trends that I started to see was that leaders were complaining to me that they were having to sacrifice their health in order to get ahead at work. So they would tell me stories about skipping lunch, not getting enough sleep, skipping workouts, and they felt like it was starting to impact their performance at work. And maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you felt that in your own life. And I don't think that should be a trade-off that anybody has to make. So I decided to put together Lunge Leadership that helps to combine leadership development as well as physical movement and activity. So we offer coaching, workshops, and what I think are some unique sessions where we combine physical activity with learning. And I believe that when you take care of yourself as a full, complete human being, that's really when you feel your best. And what I'm talking to clients about a lot these days are feelings of high anxiety, stress, and restlessness. Maybe you can relate to those feelings, right? So what we're going to do today is talk about how we can combat those feelings. We're going to talk about what we should do, how we should do, and we're actually going to stand up and do some desk exercises together. We're going to practice that together, and then we're going to make So Emily, I'm interested to hear from you the one word that are coming in about how this group feels about moving.
So we have a lot of different answers. Patricia says she feels conflicted. Angie said she needs to move more. Adam feels powerful. Kevin says, ugh, that's my word. Several people like Diane and Deanna have said love, hate. Some people see it as a chore while others love it and find it refreshing. So there's a lot of various answers. Mike said, yuck.
Well, thanks everybody for your honesty. And I'm not surprised that there's a wide variety of answers. We've got some positive ones, like the powerful answer. I liked that. But then we've got, feeling kind of overwhelmed and confused by it. And it's no surprised that people avoid moving. And gosh, these days we can avoid it more than ever, right? We're not commuting like we used to anymore. We literally are confined to, a smaller space. We can't even walk around a store anymore. So what we're hearing from you guys is very typical. And what I hope we can do today is help inspire you to add some more movement in a way that's really easy and might even change your attitude about it. So let's get started by looking at the difference in the lives between people who move and people who sit more. Okay? And as we go through this list, you might see some benefits on here that are surprising to you, right? You might have been expecting to see things about having better abs or looking good in your summer swimsuit. But really, the benefits to moving help you fight off and prevent diseases, help you improve your eyes, your dental health, your skin, help to strengthen your heart and let it move blood more efficiently. It can help with your digestion and help to fight off depression. I didn't realize that there were all these benefits to exercising when I first started studying this. And one of the ones that I want to spend just a couple seconds on is the last point around depression. So the American Psychological Association published a report in early March, and it was perfect timing. It was about the decrease in depression, negative feelings, and hostility when you move more. So what they did is they studied a group of healthy but sedentary people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And they put them on an exercise routine. They got them moving more. And they reported back a decrease in depression, hostility, and negative feelings, which is great news because right now I'm here with a couple of teenagers who can be depressed and hostile and negative sometimes, right? And so I'm moving more and I'm encouraging them to move some more. And maybe you'll be inspired to move some more too. The other thing I should let you know about this study is that there's lingering effects to movement. So they asked these people in the study to stop working out for a period of time. And they continued to monitor the depression, negative feelings, and hostility. And they said the benefits of that stayed for weeks after they stopped moving. So I think really encouraging news. If we move a little bit more, we'll have all of these health benefits you see here, as well as maybe even feel better and not as depressed. So again, if you have any questions about these points, you can go ahead and put them in the question box. And then Emily will let me know when some show up there. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm interested in moving more, but what exactly does she mean by moving? What am I signing up for? So let's do a little true and false here. I'm going to encourage you to go back to that question box, and I'm going to read you 3 statements. And after each statement, you'll put a T for true or an F for false. And I'll read through all of them, and then we'll talk about the answers. Okay? So Emily, in a moment, I'm going to have you read these off to me. The first statement, I want you guys to tell me if it's true or false, is that I have to break a sweat to reap all of those benefits on that slide. Every time I work out, I need to be breaking a sweat. So T for true, F for false. Emily, what are people telling us? True or false for this one?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Okay.
Let's see as they come in.
Sure.
We have 2 falses. Molly says false. Deb says false.
Okay. All right. Thanks for weighing in. You guys get ready for the next one. Here we go. Next one is that I need to work out uninterrupted for 30 minutes, 6 days a week. Is that what we mean by moving? True or false? What do you guys think? 30 minutes uninterrupted time dedicated to exercise.
Oh, actually, We got a lot of falses from the last one. Let's see what
Oh, good.
you think about this.
Awesome.
We
Good.
got a false in so far, some more falses.
More falses.
Carrie, Angie, Kevin all say false.
All right. All right. Thanks, guys. Here's
Oh,
our last one. Last one is that it has to hurt. No pain, no gain. So, in order to get all those benefits from moving, I really need to feel the burn. As Jane Fonda used to say in those workout videos, I need to really feel it. True or false, guys?
false on this one as well. Janice, Mike, Joel, Dennis, Diane, Adam, none of false.
False. A lot of falses. Yeah, you guys are right. False. And isn't this good news, everybody, right? We don't have to be, breaking a sweat. It doesn't have to take 30 minutes uninterrupted, and it doesn't have to hurt, right? To get the benefits on that last slide that we just looked at, right? We can do it in increments over time. It can be something that we enjoy, right? It can be walking the dog, it can be cleaning the house, it can be doing yard work. Any type of movement is going to give you these benefits. Now, of course, the more you move, the more benefits that you're going to get, right? So let's go back to that question box. I got one last question for you guys. What is the best way to move then? What's the best exercise out there? Tell us what you think the answer is to that question. What is the best exercise? And then, Emily, you can read them off as they come in. It's a lot of information on this one. I know you've heard a lot of things from your friends and family, the best new thing, you've read articles, but what do you guys think the best type of movement is to reap all of those benefits? Any answers yet, Emily? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Guys, I love your answers. I love the answer of anything that you enjoy doing. That's the one that I'm going to go with. And the reason behind that is that you are more likely to do it, right? But all of your answers are good, and all of your answers fall into the 3 ways I'm going to suggest that you move on a regular basis. Okay? So if we look at these, I want you to try to add some strength training in, some endurance, and some flexibility exercises. You want to incorporate all 3 of these into what I'll call a moving plan. And let me tell you why. If we start with strength, so as you age, you lose muscle mass and your metabolism slows down. Great thing about weight training and strength training is that you build up your muscle and you speed up your metabolism. When you're weight training, your metabolism stays revved up for after your workout. That's very different than cardio. Cardio, you're burning during. Strength training, you're burning after. So what I mean by strength training, you don't have to pick up this big dumbbell like you see in the image here. Strength training, yes, can be with weights, but it can also be resistance bands. It can be isometric. It can also be body weight, so lunges and squats. Lots of different ways that you can get your strength training in. Now let's talk about cardio or endurance. So with cardio or endurance, we are increasing our lung capacity and we're strengthening our heart. The other great thing about cardio is you are improving your body's production of good cholesterol. Good cholesterol takes the bad cholesterol and moves it out of your bloodstream. So again, if you are someone that has high cholesterol, you might be able to reduce your medication if you are doing more cardio exercise, boost up that good production of the HDL. So when we're talking cardio, we're talking running, swimming, biking, a walk, a hike, dancing, jump rope with the kids, Lots of different things fall into cardio. And then the last category is flexibility. So the other thing that happens as you age is that your muscles will tighten and they will shrink. So when we talk about flexibility, it's a lot to do with injury prevention, right? You might have realized over the years that you can't play basketball the way you used to in high school or college, right? You get back out there, you do it today, and you pull a muscle. And that could be because you haven't lengthened out your muscles and consistently stretched them over time. You know, you've worked in the yard, you come back in and you're sore the next day. But adding in stretching, Pilates, or yoga is a nice way to loosen up and lengthen those muscles so you don't get injured over time. So I'll pause here, Emily, and see if there's any questions about anything yet that I need to address.
No questions yet. I did want to point out Cheryl said that she loves jazzercise and she even teaches it. And then I thought this was funny. Kevin said his favorite exercise is walking and then napping, which is kind of appropriate for how we're living life today.
Yes. It's all about balance and being kind to yourself these days, right? Yeah. I love it.
No questions yet.
Awesome. Great. Great. So now the question is, well, how much do I need to move, right? I'm interested in doing some new movement, but how much should I do? So I've got a couple of different targets for you here. These come from the Mayo Clinic. And I think what's most important for you guys to know is that you can break these up and you can spread them across your week. We want to be moving at least 30 minutes a day for 6 days a week. It's really important that you take your rest days. So when we're talking about endurance, 150 minutes of moderate or 75 vigorous. So that's about 25 minutes a day, moderate, 12 minutes vigorous, right? And you probably have heard or seen like the 8-minute workout, the 10-minute workout, 12-minute workout. Those have a lot of benefits, and you definitely can do that. If that's all you have the time and energy for right now, you can do that and spread it out, a couple times throughout the week. We also have strength training. So with strength training, what you should do is think about working alternate muscle groups 2 times a week. So maybe I'm doing upper body on Monday, and then Thursday I'm doing lower body. You're going to have to start with a weight, and it's going to, be dependent on all of you and what your physical capabilities are right now. But after 12 or 15 reps with a certain weight, your muscles should feel fatigued. You should be shaking a little bit. It should be a struggle to do that final lift. That's how you know that you're at the right weight for you at this point. And again, what happens during strength training is that you're breaking apart the muscle. So you do want to give yourself time to repair the muscle. I wouldn't have you do those 2 days in a row of strength training, especially if they're the same muscle groups. And then flexibility. I think it's great to add flexibility into your other workouts. So I'm going to stretch before I run or swim or bike, and I'm going to stretch after. I'm going to stretch before I do my weights. 10 or 15 minutes of stretching along with these other exercises is great, but you also might be interested in doing maybe a yoga or Pilates class. Maybe you're doing some foam rolling. Aim to do 2 or 3 times a week for about 30 or 60 minutes. So it doesn't need to take a lot of time. There isn't just one correct answer of the best way to move. I think variety is really key. And you also don't have to spend a lot of money. So here's a picture of my luxurious home gym. So here in Cleveland, Ohio, little nook in my basement. Over time, I've built up a little home gym. And I have to tell you, I'm so happy that I have these simple pieces of equipment today. So I bought all of these on Amazon and Target over the years. And I listed the prices here. The prices that you see here, I looked them all up on Amazon, and that's what they're going for these days. And what I've done is I've coupled that with a few different apps to do a workout at home, to get my strength training and my yoga at home. So Peloton is, you probably have heard about them. They've got the bike and treadmill. They have corresponding apps, and they actually have workouts that fall into our three categories of movement. They've got strength training, they have cardio, and they have flexibility. So you can go on there, you can take a dance class, you can take a HIIT class, you can take a yoga class, a spinning or a bike class if you have one of those. But they're giving away a free 90-day trial right now. If that's not, something you're interested in, there's lots of online, YouTube for Yoga with Adrienne's another great one if you want to do a at-home yoga. I know my yoga studio that I belong to here in town is offering virtual classes. So there's lots of opportunities to be doing exercise at home these days. I actually take my computer and my mat and go in the backyard when it's nice days and do some yoga outside as well. Now, many of you are probably sitting at your desk more these days than you'd like, right? You're not moving around, as we talked about before. You don't even have your commute to the office anymore. So I thought I'd share with you 3 different exercises, again, that fall into our categories of movement that you can do at your desk, kitchen table, wherever you're working from these days. So I'll walk you through these, and then I'm actually going to move locations and go over there, and we can all practice doing these exercises together. Now, you guys have it much easier. I'm the only one that's on camera. You guys can do it off of camera. But let's walk through what these are first. Okay, strength doesn't have to include weights. Remember, you can use body weights. So for our strength category, I'm going to recommend that you do some squats throughout your day. If you did 10 to 15 squats 2 or 3 times a day, you'd be sneaking in a lot of great strength conditioning. And with a squat here, you're going to just move yourself away from your desk. You're going to put your feet about hips distance apart. You've got your arms out in front of you because you don't want to swing your body or push up with your hands. You're really trying to use your quads, your hamstrings, and your calves to push yourselves up, and you brace your core when you sit back down. So that's the squat. Then we're going to move over to flexibility. And yoga is a big favorite of mine to really melt away some of the stress. And I find for myself, I'm not sitting in my good desk chair from back at the office. I have a lot more stress in my shoulders. My arms are bothering me a lot. So you can do a cat-cow stretch pretty easily at your desk. When you're doing a cow, you're arching your back, looking up towards the sky. And when you do the cat stretch, you're rounding yourself in. You'll really feel a lot of tension release in your neck and shoulder and upper back. You'll also see that I've got a side angle here. I like this one because it does lengthen out your spine. It helps you get a nice stretch in your arms as well because you're actively reaching towards the ceiling. And the twist actually helps with digestion. So it's nice to add that twist in there. When you're doing yoga, you're moving more with your breath. Maybe you've heard that before if you've gone to yoga class. So if you're doing cat-cow, maybe you do, 6 or so reps, just following your breath, out for cow, in for cat. The side angle, you actually hold the side angle for a couple of breaths before you move to your other side. And then the last category is endurance or cardio. You want to try to get your heart rate up throughout the day. So one of the things that I do is that I do my stairs. So I'm up on the 2nd floor, I go down, and then I go down to the basement again, and I come back up my 2 flights of stairs. And I do that a couple of times a day to get the blood flowing. Another thing you can do, and what we'll practice here, is actually marching in place. Right? So if you're on a call and you're off camera, you can stand up and march forward 2 steps, back 2 steps, or out or in. You could do high knees to make it harder. You could pump your arms and actually do a little jog in place. So all of these are really easy exercises. You could do them with your kids during a little break at work if they're home. You could do them with elderly, people that you're connecting with and want to make sure that they're moving. And it just adds in a little bit of movement throughout your day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my camera and sit over and go move over here. We're going to do 10 squats. Then we're going to do cat and cow for 2 rounds, and then side angle for 2 rounds. And then we'll do 10 seconds of high knees. Okay, so everybody get ready. Move yourself. So that you've got some space. So we're coming over here to do our squats. Feet about hips distant apart. We've got our arms out in front of us. Lowering down with our hips. Push up through your heel. That's 1. Should be at 5 now. Ten. Good job. You want to make it harder next time? Maybe you do it on one leg, right? Need to make it easier? Maybe you sit all the way down in the chair. Modify it to make it work for you. Okay, so let's do some yoga. We'll do cat and cow. So we're going to start with cow. So we're going to exhale out, arch your back, look up to the ceiling if you can. And then cow, you're going to round everything down. Round everything down. Nice stretch along your back there. Now let's move to side angle. With side angle, I'm going to actually put my hand down to the ground if I can reach. If I can't, I can just simply put it on my lap. But my left hand's coming over to the right side so I get that twist. And actively reach your arm up to the ceiling. Hold it for 2 breaths here. And then we'll switch and do the other side. Hand down if you can. If not, on your knee is fine. Great. Hopefully you felt that stretch again, your back, your abs, and your arms. Now it's time to do a little bit of cardio. So what we're going to do is just some high knees. Again, you can do this when you're on a phone call pretty easily, off into the corner. If high knees is too hard or too hard, you can slow it down. Just use lower there. You can move out, forwards, and back if you need to. But you can see in just a couple of seconds, you can already start to feel the blood flowing, your heart pumping a little bit. Great. Good job, everybody. And Emily, hopefully people are not chatting in to laugh at me right now. So let me pause again. Any questions, comments about these desk exercises? Sure can. So about 10 to 15 squats. And if you did it 2 or 3 times throughout the day. Great question.
And that is the only question so far. Molly, I see your question as well, and I will reach out to you after the webinar.
Perfect. So the other tip that I want to give you is to think about how you can continuously add movement into your day. So we talked about, actually going out to do a workout. We talked about the desk exercise, but there's other ways that you can just move around in general. And if you think about your day in 30-minute increments, right? So I would say, I'm going to sit for 20 minutes. I'm going to stand up for 8, and I'm going to move for 2. A lot of people ask about, should I get a standing desk? And I do think that a standing desk is great. It's got a lot of benefits, but you don't want to be in one position for too long. In fact, there was a study out of Stanford University, and they were looking at people who were suffering from lower back pain. And when they used this stand and sit methodology of, again, sitting for 20, stand for 8, move for 2, 78% of them had more pain-free days than before. So the key here is to move, get that blood flowing, loosen up your muscles. We talked about walking in place. Another thing you can do is an isometric hold, which is strength training. You could do a plank when you're on a phone call for see how long you can, hold it. And you could potentially, when you go downstairs to put your lunch in the microwave, you could do a set of wall push-ups, right? To do some more strength training. You could take a break with the kids and play with them, crawling, skipping, jumping, hide and seek. I mean, there's lots of ways that you can move while you're playing with the kids that can, again, get you those benefits. And then when the day is over and you're wanting to go and watch your favorite Netflix show or whatever you might be watching, you can add some movement in there too. So maybe during commercial breaks, you do some lunges or calf raises or sit-ups. But look for little ways just to weave movement into your day because we are sitting more than ever. I hope you're starting to get some ideas of how you could put together a moving plan that would be beneficial to you. So when I say a moving plan, let me explain what that means. It's a fitness routine that you enjoy. Hopefully, it combines those 3 ways of movement. So we're doing some strength, some endurance, and flexibility. It can be done pretty easily. So these days, it means it could be done at home, maybe outside. You're taking advantage of all of the free online resources and apps that are available to you. And I think this one's most important. When I coach leaders, I have to talk to them about creating a schedule. What I found is that when something can be done at any time, it's usually never done. So schedule it in 30 minutes for yourself. Make yourself a priority. I know right now you guys are worrying about family and friends and clients and your team, and the list goes on and on. Where are you putting yourself on that priority list? Give yourself 30 minutes, at least 6 days a week, just focused in on you. And again, keep it interesting, have fun, and add in some variety. If you want to create a plan for yourself, I do have on my website a moving plan that you can download. If you go to lungeleadership.com and then go to the blog, you'll see the most recent post is a summary of what we talked about today. I also have included an article from the Mayo Clinic about fitness basics that goes into more details about exercising. And then at the bottom here, you'll see there is a moving plan. You can download this plan, and if you want to, you can get real specific about what types of activity you're going to do each day, or simply you could just check off the box that today I'm going to do 5 minutes of endurance on Monday and 5 more on Tuesday, however you want to do that. On the bottom here, just the note to make sure that you consult with your doctor prior to starting any exercise routine so you do it safely. And I would encourage you to start really slowly and build up gradually. I usually tell people, give yourself 4 to 6 weeks at a certain range, and then you can start to increase. So maybe do more speed or more distance or more weights. But again, go gradual. What's most important to me is that you find a plan that you enjoy so that you stick with it. Emily, let me check in again. Any questions? Yeah, good. Thanks so much, Robin, for asking. So with cat-cow, what we're going to do is have your feet flat on the ground Have your hands on your knees, and you're going to want to sit a little bit out from the edge of your chair so that you've got the room to actually do this stretch. So when you're doing cow, you're going to stretch and arch your abdomen. So arch your back, stretch out your abs, and you're going to want to look up. So I'm rolling away here for cow. And I might do that on my exhale. And then on my inhale, I'm going to roll in. I'm going to tuck my chin down. I'm going to roll my shoulders in and actually tuck my tailbone under as well. And I'm going to do that for one breath. Then I'm going to come back and arch and round. So it's the combination of arching and rounding your back. So the cat really looks like that Halloween cat that you might see with an arched back. Yeah. So that's seated side angle. Seated side angle. You'll be able to find chair yoga flows pretty easily. I know that they have them on that Peloton app that I mentioned, and you'll find lots of videos on YouTube as well. But that's the seated side angle. Yeah. So isometric is when you are actually holding a muscle with some pressure in a certain position. So a plank is one example of that. Another example could be simply pushing my two palms together. If you guys want to try this and hold it maybe for the count of 5, right? And really give some opposite pressure on either arm. You're going to start to feel your biceps start to fire up there. And so with isometrics, you hold that and you're actually fatiguing the muscle with that. You can do kind of a self arm wrestle as well. So I'm going to push up to do like a bicep curl with my one hand, and I'm going to push down in opposite direction in the other hand. And again, I'm just going to hold it for a couple seconds and release and come back to it. Again, you'll find lots of isometric exercise activities out there. Good question. Yeah. Gosh, that's such a great question. Did you say it was Melissa? Melissa. Yeah. Thanks, Melissa. That's a great question. So this is the way that I think about motivation. So motivation comes from within. It is your decision on whether or not you want to move. There can be extrinsic reasons that you want to move. Maybe, a doctor is telling you you need to add some movement in to increase your health to, better a condition that you have. But really, the more powerful of the drivers behind motivation is an intrinsic motivation. So it's got to come from you, from inside of you, which is why I really, this next slide here kind of gets at that, is that I have people spend some time to really think about what you like, what you want to do as a small step, and how you hope to feel. When you have more control over what you're being asked to do, you're usually more committed to it than when somebody is making you do it for compliance reasons, right? So spend some time to think about, what do I really like? I like dancing. I always liked dancing and moving since I was young. Then that can be your endurance and your cardio, and let's add that into your plan. Nobody says that you have to go out and run a marathon, right? That might be something that is placed on you, that expectation by somebody else that just doesn't match. Or maybe you're thinking, I don't want to get up and work out early in the morning. You don't have to, right? What do you like? If you like to work out at lunch, if you like to do smaller increments of 10-minute workouts 3 times a day, do that. What worked for your sister or your partner or your best friend when they decided to move won't necessarily work for you. So spend some time really reflecting on all the different ways that you can move and find something that you like, that you enjoy, and then try to take one small step. Especially these days, guys, there's so many pressures and stressors that we have in our life right now. Be kind and be gentle to yourself. So maybe the one small step is I read the Mayo Clinic article. Maybe I download the moving plan. If that's the one small step that you take, that's great. Maybe you'll add in 10 minutes of movement tomorrow. That's wonderful. And celebrate that small step. I don't expect you to go from 0 to 100 overnight, right? I have to trick myself with this one small step thing all of the time. Like in the olden days when I used to come home from work, I would say, okay, you don't have to work out today. You just have to put on your workout clothes. Well, once you're in your workout clothes, you're like, okay, I'll go work out. Or I'll get up in the mornings and I'll say, okay, you don't really have to run. You just have to walk. Just get outside and walk. And then I'm out there and I end up running, right? So sometimes that one small step is a way to trick yourself just to get you to the next small step. And then lastly, Melissa, I would say, think about how you want to feel versus, how much weight you can lift or how fast you run or how far you run, or if you can do a certain yoga pose. Think about how you want to feel. If you want to feel less anxious, if you want to feel more positive and optimistic or have confidence, moving might help you do that. And so maybe you can set just a goal of feeling happier and joyful because I'm dancing again and I'm playing some games with my kids that I haven't played in a while. And that's going to be a measure of success. And I think thinking about those three things might help unlock some new internal kind of drive and motivation to stick with a plan. Great questions. Perfect. Yeah. So it depends on what you're trying to do, right? Don't you hate that answer? But so if you're trying to just continuously get strong or, kind of bulk up, which some people like to do. So if you just want to build your strength over time, if you are doing, kind of a steady increase of gradually adding in more weights versus, doing fewer reps with higher weights is just going to impact your body in a different way. Yeah, perfect. So I hope that I've given you some new ideas, maybe inspired you a little bit to move more than you have been, or maybe move in new ways because we talked about the three ways that you can move and exercise. Maybe you'll try out some desk exercises. Maybe you'll start doing that with your teammates every morning. And then lastly, you can go to my website to download that plan to move. If you have any more questions, you can email me or contact me through my site. I'm happy to help. And then we have a couple of more minutes. If you wanted to go through any of the other questions, Emily, I'm happy to do that. I love it. Yes. Cleaning, yes. Hand washing, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. But definitely, I love that. And I think it's on Harvard Medical School. I believe they have like a catalog of every activity and what it relates to in terms of calorie burn. So you'll be able to see on there. I don't have the link off the top of my head, but I know I've seen this chart that'll tell you like, cleaning the house, vacuuming, gardening, like every little thing is listed there, which is, it's kind of nice to see because, yeah, working in the yard and doing some of those things can definitely have a payoff. Yeah, yeah, happy to. So my website is lungeleadership.com. And then if you go to the blog, it's the most recent post to get that moving plan. In terms of apps that I have been using, I have been using the Peloton app, which is kind of fun because you can do it with friends and family. And so we can all decide to do the same class at the same time, and you can see each other on there. The other one that I use is for more of the endurance because I don't have a treadmill. So I haven't been using the Peloton tread. I don't have one of their bikes, but I use Strava. So Strava. And Strava, you can track your running or walking or biking on there. And again, it's got a nice social connection as well. There's different Strava groups that you can join. You can follow people. They give you kudos. There's different challenges on the Strava app, which are kind of fun if you're looking for something unique to do these days in terms of movement. Um, and then in terms of yoga, just online, if you wanted to, I like Yoga with Adriene. She's got a ton of content out there. She's got a channel. It's broken up by time, by muscle groups. She's just a great person to listen to as well. So those would be a few that I'd recommend that I've enjoyed anyways. Great. Well, I'm glad. It was a fun way to spend my lunch hour. Thanks everybody for the time. Miami University, Alan, everybody at the Cleveland chapter. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of the family for this opportunity. It was a lot of fun. Awesome. Thanks everybody. Bye-bye.